A very good morning to each one of you. On behalf of Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce, we welcome you all for this exclusive webinar on AI-powered self-service digital transformation, organized under the aegis of the Chamber's IT and Cybersecurity Expert Committee. The Chamber acknowledges its sincere thanks to Mr. Leslie Lowe, founder and CEO of eduCLaaS, for accepting the invitation to address at this webinar. Thank you, Mr. Leslie, for your kind acceptance. And we also acknowledge the support of Mr. Vikram and Mr. Naveen from eduCLaaS for facilitating this session.
Thank you.
The IT and Cybersecurity Expert Committee is chaired by Mr. Manas. Welcome, Manas. He is the partner of Teksands and co-chaired by Anjana, Head Talent Acquisition of TCS. Next slide, please. The Chamber acknowledges the support of its annual sponsors, Messrs. Buhler, Continental, Fundamax, IAMPL, MTR, Ramaya Group, SDMIMD, Sona Group, TVS, and Vishwas Group for their support in all the activities of the Chamber. I now hand over the stage to Mr. Manas to take it over from here. Over to you, Manas.
Thank you, Rupa, and very warm welcome to our audience and our speaker, Mr. Leslie, and his team from eduCLaaS. So I'll get you introduced to the eduCLaaS team. We have Mr. Leslie Lowe, all the way from Singapore. Mr. Lowe is the CEO and MD of eduCLaaS. And second in command in eduCLaaS is Mr. Vikram Garg. Vikram, welcome to you.
Thank you,
and he's the India Enterprise Lead. And Mr. Naveen Kumar, Enterprise Business Manager at eduCLaaS. Welcome, Naveen, to you as well.
Thank you, Manas.
So as a context for today's webinar, in today's fast-paced world, the digital landscape is constantly evolving. Technologies are changing almost every day. And that presents both challenges and opportunities for businesses. So we are going to have an extraordinary session today with Mr. Leslie. He's a seasoned expert in this field to unravel the secrets of successful digital transformation for organization. So you can grab a cup of coffee and enjoy the journey of today's session with Mr. Leslie. And a bit more introduction about Mr. Leslie is he's a highly accomplished entrepreneur and a visionary who has made significant investments in more than 40 successful companies. He has spearheaded the digital transformation of eduCLaaS, revolutionizing the education industry in the ASEAN region. Throughout this masterclass, Leslie will share invaluable insights gained from his vast experience, offering practical strategies and real-life case studies to inspire and help us navigate the complexities of digital disruption. Whether we are, this audience is seasoned professionals or just beginning your digital transformation journey, this session promises to equip you with the knowledge and tools you need to thrive in the digital age. So welcome, Mr. Leslie, once again, over to you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to share about what we are providing to help particularly smaller enterprise in their digitalization effort. Perhaps I'll just start with a couple of slides to introduce who we are and the solution that we have. And then I would like to dive into talking a little bit about the challenges that enterprises face in terms of digitalization. And then I'll move on to talk about how AI can help to digitalize your business, more than just digitalizing in a conventional way, working with system integrator, working with digital transformation consultant. We believe that you can pretty much do it yourself, right? So we want to lay out a roadmap in terms of how you can actually digitalize your business by upscaling your workforce to have that digital capability that able to digitalize the business with your own workforce. Then I'm going to talk about the digital capability that perhaps you are looking at for your business. And there are three core areas we thought would be important to have that digital capability. The first is actually about being able to offer a digital customer experience for your customer, for your stakeholder. The second is that you need to have products that are agile. You need to have operations that are agile that will be able to support the fast-moving, fast-changing environment in the digital economy. How you manage your business would likely need to be AI and data-driven. So what type of digital capability that you need to have so that you'll be able to manage your data, your business in real time, rather than the conventional quarterly understanding of your business. I'm going to drill a little bit deeper into 𝙊𝙛𝙛𝙞𝙘𝙚. 𝙊𝙗 is actually our flagship solution. It's a training product that are able to deliver digitalization outcome. What you need as enterprises is that training need to deliver that outcome. So we have innovate in the way that we deliver those training, those customized training that when you complete the training, you'll be able to have that digitalization capability rather than just gaining knowledge from the training. Just one couple of slides to introduce who we are. We are essentially a Singapore-based company. We started life in Singapore about 10, 12 years ago. And we to date have trained more than 50,000 learners. We call ourselves Digital Skill Accelerator. Essentially, we help these 50,000 learners move from being a non-IT person into pursuing a digital career. So we upskill many of these learners for this high pay, high growth job in the market. We also engage enterprises, large and small, help them digitalize their business by upscaling the workforce that able to deliver that self-service digitalization that I just talked about just now. We are in 10 countries across most countries in Southeast Asia, plus India in Asia. And we work with partners across this region. We have 100 universities that we have worked with, we are working with currently, including, in fact, many of them in India, that we deliver training curriculum to support them in upskilling the learner, the adults in the country. So we have this co-branded Digital Skill Academy that we set up with many of these universities across the region. And there are currently about 100 of these campuses that we work with this university to incubate talent across Asia. In Singapore, we are considered what you call eduCLaaS certified by the by the MOE, Ministry of Education, Singapore. We are an accredited CET center by SkillsFuture Singapore. SkillsFuture Singapore is a government agency that was set up about 8 years ago to pioneer developing future-ready talent for the digital economy. And we are the leading CET center from the private sector, working alongside other IHL in Singapore. So everything that we do is accredited. The curriculum is aligned to the National Skill Framework from Singapore. So we have over 100 training programs accredited by over 100 international universities in Asia as well as across the region. In short, essentially, we're trying to bridge digital skill gap across Asia. To do that, we have our flagship solution called 𝙊𝙗𝙛𝙚𝙀𝙗. 𝙊𝙗 stands for Competency Learning as a Service. And class is actually combining curriculum, not just skill-based curriculum that we offered, and also degree curriculum from top university across the world. And learners that going through our pathway do not just acquire skill certification for specific job role, but also receive degree credential from the university. And we have over 100 training program modules span across delivering digital skill, which include 21st century competency, such as agile management. It's not the technology, but it's essential skill that future workplace would need to adopt for adapting to the fast changing environment. Digital leadership program. And in terms of training, we have two types of skill that we're trying to deliver. The first is we call it tech-like skill. These tech-like skill are skills that non-IT professional can acquire, so that when they acquire this skill, they could digitalize their business. Like data analytics is a good example, or generative AI technology. And technology have become so easy to use now that you really don't need to be a coder before you can acquire this skill. So tech-like skills are generally skills that we offer to enterprises to support upscaling of their workforce, so that the technology, this tech-like technology, can be implemented by this non-IT practitioner in the workforce. Of course, we have job role-based scaling to develop software developer, cloud practitioner, data scientist, AI intelligence. And this is for training that can run into 3 to 6 months, essentially shifting potentially an IT and non-IT into some of these high-demand job roles for the future. So we configure this class for various segments of the market. The first segment of the market, we call this the youth segment, which is learner coming out from university, coming out for high school. We have this higher education class that we offer to get learner to inducted into digital career as soon as 12 months after they start class with us. The second is actually targeting working adult, so that they can gain a lot this digital skill for transition into a digital career, a tech career, or just gain digital skill so that they can, in fact, use those skill for digitalizing their business. So for SME, we have digitalization, self-service digitalization that, in fact, we are providing, so that the SME would actually get a digitalization outcome upon completion of the training, rather than just knowledge and skill. So let me get started on sharing some of the challenges that we are seeing in the market. IDC Cisco have done a global survey a couple of years ago, and they look at companies across the world and classified them into 4 different stages of maturity. What they consider digital indifferent, which is stage 1, are companies that do have majority of their processes in manual mode. They have limited number of digital skill talent, and the company is reactive and pretty much non-digital. I'm not going to go through every of those stages. Perhaps I'll just jump to the stage 4. If you are considered a digital native company, you are a company that already have most of your processes automated. You do have a digital skill workforce, and your strategy is started to deliver growth capability for you to become a digital native workforce, right? So I think you can look at this and try to bucket yourself into where you are, right? And the next study that the IDC did were the interview many of these companies. They found that companies who are digital native enjoy far higher growth, as much as 8 times faster than digital indifferent company. So it's clear that if you have a workforce that are digital native, you should be able to grow far faster than companies that are digital indifferent who do not have a digital skill workforce. Despite this significant value that digitalization can offer to enterprises, to SME, the next slide share with you where these SME are in digitalizing their business and what stage they are at their digitalization journey. If you look at India, India are, in fact, most company, not just India, most company in Asia, they are all falling into digital indifferent phase, right? I mean, we all know that India pretty much an IT powerhouse globally, but so far as digitalization is concerned, actually they are not reflecting that digital maturity at the more advanced level. Certainly, India is far ahead of most country in Asia, right? Thailand, Malaysia, Philippines, Indonesia, and Vietnam. The only country that sort of differentiate itself is actually Singapore. Singapore is actually globally ranked #1 in terms of digital maturity. And that's partly because the Singapore government, since about 8 years ago, have poured billions of dollars to try to upscale the workforce to actually support that type of digitalization. In fact, what we are doing, our experience that we gain is actually through this process of helping SME and helping enterprises digitalize their business in Singapore with the government support. So what really surprised even myself when I look at this particular survey is that even advanced economy like UK, USA, Germany, they are actually not very far ahead. None of them are digital native. In fact, none of them are digital challenger. They are all at a very early stage of digitalization. And for this advanced economy, they are at a digital observer stage, which is actually not at the level that you really can significantly grow your business. So then the next question is, why, despite the strong incentive, the growth that digitalization can offer to SME, yet these SME are not investing enough to actually digital their business? So the next slide actually share with you the top challenges that this SME said why they are not actually digitalizing fast enough. So if you look at the challenges that they face, the first biggest challenge is actually about shortage of digital skill and talent within the company. It's actually not technology. In fact, technology, the significance of technology, although it's critical, but technology has become so easy to use and is widely accessible at a very low cost. It's no longer the critical factor on company not digitalizing. So, but it ranked number 2. Bear in mind that this survey was taken sort of during the pandemic. So that's a couple of years ago. The number 3 reason is that it's actually due to lack of digital mindset, commitment from the management. To me, I think that if you sum that up, it's actually sort of lack of digital leadership within the company. So number 1 and number 3 is about lack of digital skill, right? Number 3 is about lack of digital skill with the leadership within the company. So if you therefore look at these 3 reasons, number 1 and number 3 really is about shortage of digital skill and talent. Number 2 is actually about technology. And our view is, in fact, 90% of what the technology needed by SME, you already have those technology, just that your manpower are not digitally skilled to be able to deploy and use this technology to digitalize your business. So long as you're a Microsoft customer, right? And Microsoft already have many of this technology that you need. And this technology are not deep tech technology. This technology, like data analytics, like process automation technology, like generative AI technology, these are all technology that you do not need deep tech IT professional to use and deploy. Therefore, our view is that if you can scale up your current workforce to be able to implement and use this few technology, which I'll share with you later on, there are about 5, 6 major digital skills that you need to have in order to digitalize your business. Then by upscaling the workforce, you will be able to digitalize your business with your own workforce. So let me share about digitalization. I'm using the word holistic digitalization. Digitalization is more than implementing some digital technology. Digitalization, to be effective, need to be not just implementing some of this digital technology and practices. It also includes workforce transformation. It also includes process transformation. And when you digitalize, if you identify a subset of your capability, let's say, for example, I want to be able to use data analytics, but using data analytics without actually building capability to capture the data analytic technology that you have would not have the data that they need to be able to develop that insight. If you have data, it doesn't mean that you are able to use that data unless you have, let's say, generative AI that can able to analyze those data for you in an efficient manner. So digitalization has to be holistic. It has to be across the entire company, because to become a digital business, you have to deliver ultimately seamless customer journey. So when you deliver to be able to deliver a seamless unified customer journey, you will need to be able to digitalize your business across different functions, starting with sales and marketing, the front of house, to the middle office, to the back office. You need to connect many of this technology and to be able to derive that value of digitalization. So let me just share with you what I mean by holistic digital transformation and what type of digital capability that you should be developing to when you digitalize your business. The starting point is really about transform your workforce to become a digital native workforce. So it's a workforce transformation, right? So you need to be able to now have a workforce that are not just digitally skilled, but also have multidisciplinary capability so that this workforce can deliver innovation and with agility and speed. With that workforce, you need to look at the front of house and you need to move from offline to online. Instead of being predominantly an offline business, you need to become an offline to online business. In China, they use this word O2O, online to offline business, because all your engagement with your customer would have to be omni-channel. It's not just online, but also include offline. And your marketing would have to be full funnel, whole buying journey, rather than just predominantly physical conversation. It's about digitalizing that entire customer journey. Therefore, you need to look at full funnel buying journey and connect it to the middle office, to the back office as well. So the first part is important to have the ability to deliver omni-channel conversational sales and marketing campaign so that you'll be able to support online to offline growth. So I'm going to dedicate a section on what do I mean by that? What are the capability and that you need to have in order to deliver omni-channel conversational sales and marketing capability, which is essential to deliver seamless customer journey. And that is the part of the business that will help you to grow faster, wider. The second part of the business is that your product need to be a lot more agile. Your operation need to be a lot more agile. Things move a lot more faster. Your product need to be a lot more flexible. So you have to have capability. You have to have a middle office, back office, and front office that is tightly connected so that you'll be able to deliver these products and services not just physically, but also digitally, and to be able to do it fast enough, just in time. And therefore, you need digital capability or practices. When I talk about digitalization, I'm not just talking about implementing technology, digital technology. I'm also talking about digital practices, right? One digital practices that is important is agile project management. So if your workforce currently run project based on the waterfall project management skill approach, that's not going to be efficient enough. It's not going to be able to handle some of the fast-moving project, innovative project that's going to come out. And your workforce need that agile project management skill to implement, to innovate. So clearly, I think to have an agile product and operation, you need to have a streamlined process that able to support straight-through processing. And you need to have enterprise applications string across the different part of the organization, and to have that connected workplace that able to support the transaction processing efficiently, and to be able to deliver your services far more efficiently. Then the final part of the once you have a very scalable front office capability, you have an agile product and operation that need to be supported by a business that able to provide you real-time data. And therefore, you need to be an AI and data-driven business, and you need to implement technology such as data analytic and generative AI so that you have a workforce that are hyper-productive and that can produce and work faster. So when you lay out your plan, it would have to ultimately deliver this digital capability. Okay, what are these critical digital skills that you need to digitalize to be able to deliver those digital capability that I just shared with you, the 4 pillars of digital capability? There are really only 5. The first is that, as I just said just now, is that you need to have agile management ability. You need to implement agile processes, right? Because things move a lot more faster, and you need to have agile management skill within your workforce so that you can have a workforce that are collaborative and workforce with agility. So agile management skill, agile management practices implementation is going to be quite fundamental to create that type of fast-moving, innovative workforce. The second part is about omni-channel marketing, so that you'll be able to have digital conversation, digital content-driven conversation that are far more efficient, in fact, frequently smarter, when you engage your customer and the stakeholder. Third is actually about process automation. You likely already have the enterprise application like ERP, potentially CRM implemented within your company. But what is missing is that they are not connected. And if you get the IT to do it, it will be taking too long, cost too much. Now you want within the company to have that digital capability to be able to connect this different application within a connected workplace so that you are able to capture data and deliver operational efficiency. So that is the third digital capability. So this digital capability are technologies such as robotic process automation tool, low-code application development tool. A non-IT person can learn how to use this low-code application tool and to actually develop and connect the different application to streamline the business processes, therefore deliver that type of journey, the connected journey that you can deliver and be operational efficient. So a big part of the business capability you need to have would be about having the ability to streamline work processes. And when you do that, you want to capture data using this technology. If you have that technology implemented, then you need a place where you store this data. So data analytic, business intelligence tool would have to be there so that when you put those data in a business intelligence tool, your workforce would have to know how to slice and dice the data, do multi-dimensional analysis on those data that are able to deliver you business intelligence that you need, business analytics that you need to support your business in a real-time manner. Finally, generative AI sort of, with the data now in the data analytic technology, you'll be able to now act on those data so that it can actually provide you that real-time insight and action that you can take. So really, there are basically that 5 core digital skills that your workforce would need to have in order to digitalize your business. Of course, we need to establish within your workforce who would need this digital skill and develop a digital scaling plan for these resources. So to digitalize, there are 3 steps to help you holistically digitalize your business with your upscaling the workforce. That's the 3 steps that we take. The first step we will take is that we look at your business and we'll prescribe to you the technology that you need to digitalize your business. In Singapore, the Singapore government have came out with, for each sector, there are 23 industry sector. They have already developed a digital technology and practices roadmap on what type of technology the respective sector would need. So what we do is we just take that and prescribe it to our customer. After you have laid out what is that roadmap, the technology and practices roadmap that you need, we would then do a job transformation, a job, establish your workforce, which job role require what type of digital skill. So it's a sort of job role redesign, and through that establish what are the skill your workforce would need in terms of digital skill. After you have established what are the skills that they need, we would come out with a workforce upscaling plan that enable us to undergo that training, that scaling, that at the same time able to deliver the digitalization outcome. So I'll share with you a little bit more on how we actually are able to not just train and scale up your workforce, but at the same time able to deliver and develop the digital capability for your business by the end of that training. So let's just sum up the process. So generally, we would perform a digital transformation planning and management support. So we look at your business, we prescribe to you what are the digital technology that you need to implement. And based on that, we would actually work out a workforce upscaling plan to transform this workforce to become a digital native workforce. And this digital native workforce would be able to learn in the flows of work and also have mentoring support that would deliver that digitalization outcome that I just spoke about. again, I just sum up the 5 to 6 skills here that your workforce would need to get scaled up and also implement a live project to develop or implement that technology within your workplace or within the workforce upscaling plan itself. Okay, so how do we develop this workforce, right? As I said, we need to be able to look at the workforce and to be able to prescribe what are the digital skills that they should acquire, and then work out a workforce upskilling plan, get them skilled up so that they'll be able to implement and develop this technology. So I'm going to just share briefly about how we do that. So in fact, there's been a skill shift going on in the market. This is a chart by McKinsey. Essentially, this particular chart forecasts what would be the different type of skill that you need. And in 2030, about 5-6 years down the line, what this chart is showing is that there is a skill shift, right? Physical, manual skill, basic cognitive skill is in decline because many of the future jobs would not require this skill anymore. So if you are in those jobs that require those physical skills, it's important that you acquire new skill, or else you would not have the skill for those future jobs in the digital economy. So the two major skills that is essential to be ready for the future workplace. If I'm a talent, I would have to acquire two types of skill for transitioning to sustain the job as well as get inducted into the new growth job. The first is technology skill, which is about expect a 55% growth. More than just technology skill, there is also a need for that 21st century competency. Some call it social and emotional skill, which includes skill like innovation, agile skill, so that you have an agile, innovative talent that will be able to not just to create, not just to add value, but actually able to create value. So therefore, the future talent would need to be multidisciplinary, right? And this so-called pie shape, right? And I think this how we describe this multidisciplinary digital talent has been changing from, some people refer it as pie shape, some people refer it as M shape. Essentially, what it means is you need to have broad competency like agile, innovation, digital fluency skill, but you also need to have different multidisciplinary skill, not just digital technology skill, but also business domain skill. I'll give you an example of an accountant. Okay, so if you look at accountant, right, their technology skill in the past is spreadsheet. If you do not know spreadsheet, even 10 years ago, unlikely you are qualified to be an accountant. So beside that technology skill, obviously an accountant have to know their business domain, right? But today, as an accountant, you essentially need to, that spreadsheet skill have to be upskilled to data analytics skill. If you don't have data analytics skill, it's unlikely you're going to get hired as an accountant today. For most of the modern employer looking out for accountant that will be able to provide that type of data analysis for their business. So for And in Singapore, the Singapore government have came out with the National Skill Framework. The National Skill Framework essentially take every single major job, and for each of these major job, they have defined the different skill that they need for those jobs, right? So as an accountant, you will see that data analytics is actually a core skill. Process automation is and there are different proficiency level to each of the skill, right? So for data, and it's divided into 3 different level. What are the proficiency level? If I want to build a business analytic application, then I have to gain a build level skill. If I just want to be able to establish the requirement, the design, then I might have just a design skill. If I just want to use the dashboard that come out of a data analytic application, then I'm just a use. Obviously, there are different levels of that hours that an individual would need to spend for the different levels of skill. Like for data analytic, if you want to be able to build, you need 120 hours of training and application. If you just want to be able to design, it's just a 60 hours. If you want to use, maybe it's just 2 hours, right? Because you're just using a dashboard. Everybody can do that. It's just some guidance. How do you use it? So for different jobs, so we would look at the company, your company, and say, what are all these major job role, right? Accountant, we know that they need to definitely acquire data analytics skill. What about your operation person? Your operation person who has been doing repetitive tasks, and that person should probably know process automation skill, and he or she has to reach a build level, right? So he can automate a lot of this process himself so that he would be able to focus on doing more value job rather than this repetitive task that can be streamlined. So for a salesperson, as an example, right? A salesperson who doesn't know digital tool for engaging the customer is not good, because people don't pick up phone anymore, right? So the person have to be able to be omni-channel. So different job would have different need, that different levels of skill that they need. Through that, we'll be able to establish within your workforce this. So the starting point, these are the 5 skills that your workforce would need to absorb. The next thing is decide which job role and what you want them to acquire that digital skill so that they can be more productive, more efficient in that job role. So with that, we'll be able to come out with the workforce upscaling plan. Okay, let me drill into the 3 digital capability that I just spoke about in terms of the ability to deliver personalized learning customer journey, the ability to be able to develop an agile product and operation, and then the ability to build a data and AI-driven business management capability within the company. So I've dedicated 4 or 5 slides in each of them to share with you what are these capabilities. Okay, so I think first, if you look at your website, because your website is your conversation with the customer, right? So your website is structured in a way that it would be structured in what we call a product market fit, right? So this is our own example. eduCLaaS basically target 3 major segment, different customer segment. The first segment, as I said, the higher education class is meant to target the highest high school graduates persona. So there are three different persona that we are targeting. The high school graduate, the underemployed adult, which is our adult learning product solution. Like for enterprise, which is our self-service digitalization solution. So when you communicate with your audience, you have to the first thing you need to establish is to establish that product market fit, right? If you are from the startup sector, and this is the first thing that all the startup need to do, because they need to be able to establish what is your solution and who they are targeting. With the solution market fit established, the next thing is about laying out a conversation with this persona, right? Because they are your customer. We have three types of customer, and the conversation we have, the way we talk to them, the way we engage them, and the content are all going to be quite different. When I'm talking to, it could be the same program. It could be just a program to help you scale up to become a data scientist. But when you talk to a high school graduate, and when you talk to an adult, your delivery approach are different. Your value proposition are different. Like if I go back to in a system access case, or not system access, in our eduCLaaS case, right? Our value proposition is actually a work study degree. When we engage a high school graduate who are basically trying to go into a university to get some skills so that 4 or 5 years later on, they can get a job, our positioning are quite different. Our positioning is you should not go into academic university. You should go into applied university. An applied university that enable you to become a work apprentice from the second year onward, would enable you to actually get inducted into the job on the second year rather than on the fourth year after you graduate. So the conversation is very different, right? We are selling from the same program that when you talk to an underemployed adult, right? You're an accountant working for an SME. In the context in Singapore, if you're an accountant, you work for an SME, you probably make about 5,000 Singapore dollar. But today, a fresh graduate from an IT university, from fresh IT graduate, today they're getting 5,000. So to some extent, the current workforce is such that if you are non-IT, non-tech, non-digital, you are probably underemployed, right? So for this accountant who work for an SME, our positioning would be, how can I actually transition you into a digital job to become a data scientist that will be able to double your salary in the next 24 months, right? Because this job, if you have that skill and you do have that data skill as an accountant, so we should be able to move you within the next 1-2 years into that job role. And this is what we can offer you to actually get you there. More than just training you, but also place you on the job. So there are different conversations. And so this conversation, we would, in a conventional conversation with your customer, right? I think one sanity check here would be, when you sell your product, how many percent of those conversation is actually physical conversation? How many percent is actually digital conversation? Even for eduCLaaS, before the pandemic, 90% of that conversation is physical. Only 10% is digital. We were like everybody else. We do have Facebook campaign. We do have Google campaign. But what it does only is it generates leads for us. Once it generates leads, we'll pass it across to the sales team. Sales team would be then calling them and talk to them and move them through the funnel, right? From coming into doing scoping, understand what our solution is all about, convert them, sign them on. So that is 90%, even for us before the pandemic. But during the pandemic, we have transformed. And today, 80% of that conversation is actually digital. 20% it still have to be physical. So is that shift that most organizations would need to do to move from their conversation with the customer predominantly physical, which is offline, to online. Because as a company in a new digital economy, your conversation has to be a mix of online to offline, depending on your business. So therefore, you need to, and when you communicate with a customer, it's not going to be through only one channel, the phone. You might have to use Facebook. You might have to use WhatsApp. You might have to use LinkedIn. So there are going to be multi-channel campaign that you are going to have to develop, both online to offline. And this conversation journey, you would have to use different communication, multimodal communication. It could be a website, a landing page that are in conversation with you, tailored to you as a specific persona, to using video, email, WhatsApp, all those different things. So to develop a conversational marketing campaign, if you can do that, essentially, your conversation will be, number one, digital content driven. Second is that you need to be full funnel. Third is you need to be omni-channel. If you lay an AI on top of it, your conversation can be very smart conversation. As an example, for us, our process is we have a database marketing campaign that we go to LinkedIn. We basically identify a specific job role, and we would actually use AI to create all the customized conversation outreach and even produce a proposal for you, right? After you upload your CV, we do a scan in terms of what is your current skill and which is the best job that you should pursue. After we do that, we would then have to work out what are the pricing, what are the journey, what are the time, right? So when a customer that we hunt from the LinkedIn community, we are able to digitally communicate with this particular prospect all the way until he receives a proposal, a career, which career you should be going, and what is the learning pathway that you should adopt, and how much would it cost. And when they meet up with our career and learning advisor, they already have the 10 pages proposal right in front of them and sharing with them why. So AI essentially take away a career counseling job, right? And we can do it a lot more faster. And therefore, this whole conversation is certainly it's not just being efficient, beyond being just efficient, it's a smart conversation. So the ultimate goal of your digital sales and marketing campaign, conversational sales and marketing campaign, is to be able to deliver on that outcome. The outcome I just stated on top of the screen is actually, first of all, digital content driven. So you need to have a digital content map, content that's developed, and it need to support the whole funnel. It need to converge across different channels, and it need to be AI enabled so that you'll be able to have better closing ratio, better conversion, and cheaper cost. To be able to do that, your sales and marketing team need to acquire this capability, right? First, know how to sell solution. We have this training called Omnichannel Solution Sales. They learn how to create solution sales canvas. Therefore, will be able and know how to use digital tool to actually engage specific customer, enter into this digital conversation. Digital marketing, content marketing, and then obviously a lot of this engagement that is digitalized, it need to be automated. So you need to probably adopt marketing automation software and the CRM that will be able to automate this entire engagement. So essentially for eduCLaaS, we actually implement this whole capability. We get our entire team scale up. During the pandemic, we actually grow our business 3 times. And we grow our country coverage from 2 countries to 10 countries during the pandemic. And certainly that growth in terms of upper line, we could not have done it without the implementation of this omni-channel conversational sales and marketing campaign. Okay, let me just talk a little bit about agile product and operation. I'm not going to drill too much into it. As I said just now already that the team need to be agile. So the entire team, we put them through agile project management ability. And many of our own team within the company, they are quite experienced individual. Actually, it do come with a downside when you are quite experienced, because we are, including myself, we are taught the waterfall project management approach, and that's not going to be flexible and agile enough to do a lot of the work that we need to do, which has to be far more, you need the agile management skill. So to have an agile product and operation, we essentially need to implement 2 types of technology: the process and application integration technology, which is a process and low codes application tool, and data analytic and AI, generative AI. So the 3 key technology that need to be implemented. With that implementation, we'll be able to connect the front, middle, and back office application that we have in place to deliver that unified customer journey that I was talking about. So the fundamental to be able to have an agile product and operation would have to be, firstly, a connected workplace that able to support, deliver operational excellence, efficiency, and also data and AI-driven business management capability. So AI and business-driven, those are, so we use AI across the board, not just for sales, but also for marketing, also for product management, as well as for our operation, our learning and management operation. Okay, so I have quickly just sort of gone through to give you a feel of the these 5 or 6 technology that I talk about, how you can implement them so that it can deliver personalized customer experience and agile product and operation, as well as the data and AI-driven business management capability. Okay, how do we then deliver those outcomes, those implementation of this technology at your workplace? So So I'm going to share with you how we deliver that outcome while scaling up your workforce. We cannot be a conventional training provider that provide you that training. And because the training itself do not deliver that outcome, right? So we have to change the way that we deliver training. So what we are delivering to you are three type of training and consulting services. The first is actually the work integrated scaling type of class. Second is actually project-based learning that have industry expert mentor that able to mentor you on the development of that technology. Then thirdly, we would have digitalization consulting that makes sure that you have a comprehensive, holistic strategy and planning and management capability. Okay, so for every skill that you need, right, which we said for every of your workforce that need to get upskilled to a specific digital skill, they would actually undergo two modules. The first module is actually what we classify as digital scaling class. The second module is actually a project. You do actually a project where you apply the skill that you learn in the digital scaling class, and we handhold you through the development and the implementation of the technology that you have gained. Let's say, for example, data analytics. Data analytics, you should be able to learn that in about 40 hours. You still have to go to the classroom because you need to learn how to create a dashboard. You need to understand how to do data modeling. You need to be able to understand how to capture the different type of data that you need to bring into the tool, and you need to be able to create the reports. You need to be able to create the dashboard so that you can analyze those data. So there are many of these programs outside, and essentially you learn how to be able to build this data analytic application. After you finish that course, we would, yes, I think if we access you, do you know all those skills to build a business application? Even you have take all of them, yes, I actually know how to, the features and all those, I understand every piece of this feature. It doesn't really mean that if I ask you to go and develop a data analytic, a business analytic application for sales in your company, yes, you do have most of the skill to actually do that, but you might not have other a project management skill to be able to develop that project. And you likely need some handholding. If you face problem, you want to be able, a technical problem, you need somebody to talk to and on the one-to-one basis. So that's why we would go into this individual would go into the second module. When he go into the second module, he would be taking up a project from the workplace, and he would be developing that business analytic application. And he would have 60 hours, of which this 60 hours, he would have some common session. He would have some group session. He also would have some one-to-one section that he can call upon to have a one-to-one consulting with our industry mentor to actually mentor that individual to develop that project. And the assessment of that particular skill is actually through the outcome that you're going to create. So by the end of the 60 hours, in order to pass that module, you actually have to present your your outcome, which is actually the sales analytic that you wanted to develop, right? So the delivery is actually very flexible, right? We call that high flex delivery model, learning model. High flex is in hybrid. Hybrid as in you go through e-learning, you go through flipped class, you go through small group mentoring. It's a mix of online to offline, synchronous to asynchronous interaction. It also basically the delivery is actually highly flexible because you basically been told over next 3 months we will support you in developing this tool. So the schedule, there are some classes like flip class that meant for everybody at the beginning of the class. It would be shared across because everybody have to have a starting point. And there'll be some class that is by group, some class is going to be one-to-one. But it would have to work according to your own project schedule. So you could then call on some of those schedule and structure it so that it can actually support your project schedule. So that's how we are able to basically ensure that there are two things that I think is an issue to enterprises, right? When you are scaling your workforce, the first part is, of course, you have to pay for training. But that's generally not the problem that most enterprise face. The problem tend to be is the opportunity cost on how long this individual is going to be out in the classroom and therefore impact the business, right, in a negative way because they are not there to produce. So our approach essentially that 2/3 of the 120 hours that you are going to have would be learning in the flows of work, which essentially are doing live project for your company. Therefore, able to deliver outcome for the business, right? So to the business, it's not a training outcome that you're going to get. It's actually a business outcome that you receive. To individual as well, right? Particularly Singapore. I don't know about India. And clearly, many of these professionals, they don't want to burn their weekend. They don't want to study at night. And they would not come for that type of deep scaling, which is 120 hours. With a very flexible schedule that can work in the flows of work, it would actually entice the workforce to come forward to actually gain that skill, to therefore be more productive as a workforce. So I hope that I have been able to share with you the approach on which that we take. Essentially, you can digitalize your workforce by digitalize your business by upskilling your workforce. And this upscaling really boils down to 5 to 6 digital skill gap that you need to bridge at the workforce. And this innovative work integrated scaling are able to deliver that type of digitalization that you need. And typically, depending on your size of the company, it can be done in 90 days to 180 days, depending on the size of your business. Perhaps I can open for more questions, I think.
Thank you, Leslie, for taking us through this detailed presentation. Now the forum is open for participants to ask questions.
Mr. Leslie, probably I'll ask the first question. So typically in this entire process of digitalization that you have explained, what are the challenges, frequent challenges that organizations face that they need help on?
Okay, so I'm just going to tell you a little bit of the story of what happened in Singapore, right? And the Singapore government literally pay everything for this SME to entice them to upskill their workforce so that they can digitalize their business, right? Before the pandemic, despite the government paying 90% funding on all the training that they receive, the SME are still, particularly the SME, are still not coming forward and say, I should actually upskill my workforce. As I said, the biggest problem that they are facing is that as an SME, most of them have a very lean workforce. That's number one. Number two is really they are mainly in survival mode, right? So training outcome, in fact, is not what they are concerned about. It's not their biggest concern. In fact, their biggest concern is if I send my staff for training, they are better skill, they might leave me and I couldn't hold on to them. So they see two major negative part to sending people for training. Despite it can be free, the number one is really about the company inability to use that skill in the first place, right? Because they have not, and if it's a skill that cannot be used, then why do I actually skill this person up, which can also lead to attrition? The second problem, of course, is really that opportunity cost that I'm talking about, right? A lot of this skilling need to be quite deep skilling, right? Most company, they talk about every year, maybe I can get 40 hours of training out to my staff. But to do something that are able to deliver outcome, like data analytics, you have to really be doing 120 hours. So that deep scaling is taking away too much time. If this 120 hours is going to be done in the classroom, it would be too high a cost for them. So these are the two problems that we certainly have in Singapore before the pandemic. After the pandemic, that's why we came out with our approach to solve that problem, right? Our approach is to say that the first thing is that let me reduce your cost of your training, right? Because as I said, the cost is not the training fee. The training fee is already paid by the government. Let me reduce your opportunity cost, right? So the opportunity cost obviously is that instead of 120 hours in the classroom, we are going to do only 40 hours. The other 80 hours, we are going to do it in the flows of work, which deliver an outcome, right? So I'm going to reduce your cost, and our learning delivery now deliver the outcome for you, which is a positive part. So with that, we really are able to overcome that traction for them to come forward to actually digitalize their business, because that's what business is all about. I want business outcome. I want low cost of investment to get this outcome.
True. And there are some more questions on the chat box. So one question is, do you have an India-specific case study?
Okay, so we only really gone to the market about internationally about 6 to 12 months ago. Vikram might want to talk a little bit about that. Yeah, I think we do have a healthy pipeline for some Indian customer to come along.
Yes, Leslie. And Manas, yes, we do have a India case as well. In general, the general perception or the first use of analytics is for reporting. I mean, that's the common utilization across the board. But we do have a customer who came with a very different kind of a problem. It's a manufacturing company into turbo engines, and they wanted to increase the or maximize the production capacity utilization. So that was the problems. And what we did was we curated a program around analytics with which now they are able to predict the downtimes. The entire logbook was, there was a network drop. I'm back here. Right.
Yeah.
So the customer had this challenge that they maintained the logbooks in the Excel, but the engineers on the shop floor could not make much sense of that. But now 20 of their engineers, having gone through the training program and also project implementation, now they are able to preempt these downtime and take preventive measures. So that in turn has resulted in higher utilization of the production capacity.
That's excellent. Actually, this is a very relevant case of how production can be optimized. We have more questions. So Balaji Guram asked, can we identify any graduates who have already taken the initial course of digital transformation so that we can absorb them and then try to develop? Do you also provide, so I think if I understand the question correctly, do you also provide such digital transformation courses in the universities to students?
Okay, so in India, we have only rolled out in the past year, we roll out for two type of job role. The first is actually a full stack software developer. The second one is actually a digital marketer. But this year we are rolling out for more career professional, because when you talk about digital transformation consultant, right, they need to come with domain experience. So that we would not target that for undergraduate program, which is what we did last year. But this year we are actually doing that, and we roll it across 8 countries now. Since about 3 months ago, we rolled that out. So there's one job role that is actually a digital transformation consultant. In fact, that would be basically looking for individual who actually have the business management experience, operational experience, understand the different type of business sector, and to be able to learn about some of these 5 or 6 digital skill, having that depth, and to be able to apply to help this business digitalize their business. So that's the one that we only started the recruitment process about 3 months ago. We'll be expecting clearly this type of talents that will be able to support our business, because every customer that we get, the bigger customer who want our digital transformation consulting, these are the digital transformation consulting resources that we like to have. We wouldn't want somebody that who actually come out from school, they can't be a consultant. They have to understand business. But we wouldn't expect any graduate actually this year, because we just came out and it would take us 12 months. 6 to 12 months to actually get this person ready.
Sure, thank you for that. The last question in the chat box is, how do you recommend organizations prioritize their digital transformation efforts to maximize impact and minimize disruption? Okay,
so there's only one thing that I think organization need to do in this whole digitalization, right? When you talk about digitalization, most people think about this core technology that I need to implement to digitalize their business, right? That tend to be difficult, tend to take long time and all that. So that's one part. But actually, the low-hanging fruit is actually the tech-like skill that I'm talking about, right? And these are the thing that is about focusing on workforce upskilling, right? So even you don't have those core technology, because you don't have those core technology, in fact, it's more important that you need to now implement those tech-like technology so that you can gather those data and to be able to, because those technology is expensive and it takes time to implement, right? This tech-like technology is something that you can actually do it yourself, and you can actually derive benefit very quickly to give you that return. So my take is that the key focus is how do I upskill my workforce to be able to implement this technology, right? And anyway, this upscaling of your workforce is going to lead to a highly productive workforce that you are going to be able to use to implement those core technology, which is probably more complicated as you move along. That's going to take a longer time, right? In fact, one of the frequent feedback that we get from the market is this. There are many big companies that have gone on and implement many of this technology, right? But the problem tend to be is that the last mile, which is my core technology can provide you some data, but you as a user, if you do not know how to use those data to support your business, then they are not going to get that value of that digitalization, right? So there is this core technology digitalization. I think different businesses, all businesses have that 10-20% of this core technology that you need to implement. But the second part is that tech-like technology, which is far easier, that give you return far faster. And that's a part that I don't think you can compromise, right? That is something that is literally, to me, if you want a productive workforce that are able to keep up with the pace, you need that so-called 3 skill that I'm talking about, right? Process automation, data analytic, and generative AI. Right.
Thank you for that. I don't see any further questions in the chat box. Anyone else? You can unmute your microphone and you can ask questions. We will stop for some time.
So maybe I'll just add on to this, and I think you see when we talk to a company, right? What I presented, it sounds very complicated. There are many steps that you need to take, and you need to redesign your workforce and all that, right? You need a consultant that will be able to lay out the entire plan for you. For larger company, yes, but even larger company, if you recognize that my workforce need this skill, it's actually about picking up this individual to get them skill out very quickly. Whatever you want to do in digitalization, right? For your company, you must have this individual that have that ability to be able to capture data, analyze data, and act on that data. And in your workforce, you would have people that you need to scale up. The earlier you scale up this individual, they will be able to drive your digitalization of and basically create more of this capability within the company, because the workplace of the future require workforce, and this is becoming core skill to your workforce for your non-IT people, right? These are skills that in the past you basically trying to seek the IT help, but today your workforce should be able to deliver that, right? Faster, cheaper, far easier, but you need this workforce, right? So for this 6 skill, we literally have program that's running on a monthly basis, right? And it's really bite-sized, right? Essentially, you can register them for that 2 module. When you register them for that 2 module, you already pilot an outcome, right? You can rest assured that at the end of the 2nd module, they are going to develop that digital capability. So your organization, not just this individual you send, actually are learning that actually this is the type of thing that I can do, right? With that skill. So from there, I think at the meantime, you can, so you can look at it in a more holistic way later on, right? As you progress, as you gain more of this skill. Once you have that understanding, it's actually you are digitalizing the business, right? Then you would have that capability to say that, oh, I need to redefine my workforce. I need to have this skill with this individual and to deliver that capability, right? As leadership, yeah.
True. Exactly. There is one other question that just came in. Do you have a model that we can try and feel as a sample? Try and feel as a sample? Maybe, I mean, Jagdish is probably talking about a use case that you have developed.
Yeah. So, okay, so that's what I was saying, right? Send one person to a data analytic program or to a generative AI, right? Essentially, for the first module, we charge $500. The second module is 1,000. So essentially, this is a pilot for you, right? I'm taking one individual, I'm going to get him to become a generative AI analyst by the end of 3 months, right? And you would see that through and see whether that person can actually get that outcome out. So it's a good test, and for one of the skill.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll consider
Right.
that. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. And any further questions from anyone in the audience?
If you want to try out, I think the best one that you should try out, and I know that if you send somebody there,
yeah,
you would get significantly higher return. It's a generative AI, right? Module. The generative AI module, what we are teaching you is basically how do you design a prompt? Because I think all of you probably have one way or another touch on ChatGPT, but your prompt probably are not sophisticated enough, right?
But I understand that.
And we are using the Copilot as well, the Copilot. So you'll be able to look at, and by the end of the course, you literally will be able to create a chatbot, right? You'll be able to see how perhaps all the different Microsoft tool that you are doing from Microsoft, from a Microsoft Word, you generate a PowerPoint deck. The PowerPoint deck, you actually generate a presentation with a voiceover, with a footnotes. All those are actually a click of a button, right? When we put our people through Copilot, my product curriculum development team, their productivity gone up 50 to 90%. So generative AI is actually, having gone through that, you probably hear frequently about this generative AI is going to eliminate job. It will. And in fact, it will eliminate very knowledgeable job, because if you look at pre-ChatGPT, when you have a data analytic, even you have the data, you still have somebody, you need somebody to to analyze those data, right? It's a dashboard, you go through, you analyze it. Now with generative AI, you are able to instruct your co-pilot. That's why Microsoft call it a co-pilot, right? You instruct your co-pilot, which is you, so that they can analyze it for you, right? So you'll be basically giving instruction, which is in the form of prompt, right? So that's how it would eliminate the jobs that generally, if I'm a CFO, right, I have an accountant that is going to analyze those data. I'm instructing the accountant how to analyze. I actually don't need an accountant or data analyst anymore because I'm specifying the spec. How should you analyze? And the co-pilot will be able to do that for you when that scenario happens. So there's no question in my mind that actually generative AI is going to make an individual a lot more productive. And you will see that once you understand it, and you'll be able to really make a difference in terms of digitalizing your business.
Thank you. I was wondering if we should begin with something more basic, because generative AI does evoke a lot of interest among Indians, but it's the fad of the season. In most organizations, I see that we are still not understanding robotic process automations for the organization. For this one, would you recommend a program more earlier in the sequence that you have shared to us?
Okay. So the three technology that I talked to you about, robotic process automation, data analytic, and generative AI, if I have to rank them and say which one is easier to learn, it's actually generative AI. Because robotic process automation, you need to understand logic, you need to understand a little bit of coding, right? In fact, robotic process automation is the more complex one among the three. The next one is actually data analytic, right? Data analytic, if you are very good in Excel, right, your learning curve is lower, but still, right, you need to create dashboard and all that. So it's a little bit technical. But when you come to generative AI, it's actually prompt design. It's actually about, it's just like another language, right? You just need to be a little bit structured in your prompt, and you will be able to learn that far faster, right? For me, right, I'm a tech person, but I would find the prompt design is a lot easier to do.
I understand. Appreciate it.
So
Thank you.
in fact, it's good to come from that side, right? Because your business need, you'll be able to, then later on, you would find that, okay, I need data, right? Or else this is not meaningful to me, right? That's when you need to now put project together to say, how do I capture the data? How do I automate that workflow so that the data can get into the data analytic? Because the generative AI, right? Let's say you do some analysis, you actually output into the Excel or format or into data analytic format to be stored there. In any case, I think it's actually the easier one.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. In any case, that we don't necessarily recommend that the same person have to know all the three, right? That's why as a business, you need to decide, right? Who do what? Because if it would end up having a 360 hours training for the individual. Although our view is that they should, right? But maybe not the first module. They would come from different starting point. If I'm an operation person, right, my main job is actually streamline my process, then I should send that individual into the process automation, gain that skill. If I'm a data person, then I think I should go into data analytic. But generative AI could be anybody, anywhere. He's just in fact, he's more a senior business person, a business person who actually doesn't need to get into all those technical and creating dashboard. I'm defining what I want to see, how I want to see it, right? So it's easier because I'm just doing a prompt design, which is actually language. It's almost like speaking just in a ChatGPT term. That's all.
Sure, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Okay, so Rupa, do you want to say the closing words?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Leslie. It was a wonderful session. Thanks for sharing the invaluable insights on the digital transformation. And I'm sure the participants have very great takeaways from the session. We look forward to have many more interactions in the future too. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Lou and Mr. Vikram, Naveen, and our wonderful audience for great questions and listening patiently. And Rupa and the Chamber for organizing it so well. So thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manas, and thank you, Rupa, and our gratitude to BCIC for giving us this opportunity. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Manas. Thank you, Rupa.
Thank you.